Welcome back, everyone. Back by popular demand, we will again repeat the unclear, important collaboration that I wanted to discuss because it's so useful in everyday lives. So, this is one of the advanced or complex topics in computer science. It's at the end of their program, usually fourth year. So we were just gonna touch like a small details with regards to human to computer interaction. So Uh, let's start with collaboration. Introduction. There are many ways to study what it means to be social. In this chapter, we focus on how people communicate and collaborate face to face and remotely in their social, work, and everyday lives, with the goal of providing understandings, insights, and guidance to inform the guidance of social technologies that can better support and extend them. The conversation mechanism that have conventionally been used in face to face interactions are described and discussed in relation to how they have been adopted for the various kinds of technology-based conversation that now take place remotely. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, the almost universal adoption of social media in mainstream life resulted in most people being connected in multiple ways over time and space in ways that were unimaginable 25 or even 10 years ago. In some sense, the widespread uptake of social media and social computing, the way the people make contact, how they stay in touch, who they connect to, and how they maintain their social networks and family ties has irrevocably changed. So the this social media platform has changed dramatically how we connect with other people because now it allows us to connect to hundreds or even thousands of people at the same time. But the question is it natural for a human to do that? Are we doing that before? So let's find out. While offering workers more flexibility in how they schedule their work and home lives, the experience of those joining remotely to a meeting is often less than optimal compared with those who are doing things together at the meeting, socializing, eating, drinking in the same physical space. It has also proven stressful for those trying to set up the technology in a classroom or meeting room to connect the remote people with them. Oftentimes, the technology was simply not fit for purpose. So a lot of times, for Zoom meeting, the kids or students, based on experience, are usually turning off their cam, and the teacher doesn't know if they are there. Now the challenge is how can you conduct these online meetings, and how can you do that like in a virtual world where you can see the person face to face. So that's the challenge with this. Now we will gonna discuss how the recent innovation with human to computer interaction uh, was able to study this phenomenon. So a common problem was in the room being seen or heard when talking by those who were remote. Despite continued improvement being made to collaborative software and video conferencing to enable hybrid working to be more equitable, it is widely recognized that there is still a way to go for it to match the rich experience of meeting others in person. So video conferencing has its use and also has been developed. That's one of the collaboration tool that has been developed to uh, uh, be able to communicate efficiently. But there is a downside, like called Zoom fatigue, where people are exhausted after the meeting because we're just not wired to see our face all the time, especially sitting all day Even when sitting together, we often end up being in our own digital bubbles. One author pointed out that many people will admit to preferring texting to talking to others as is easier, requires less effort, and is more convenient. Furthermore, her research has shown that when children hear adults talking less, they likewise talk less. This in turn reduces opportunities to learn how to empathize. Sherry Turkle argues that while online communication has its place in society, it is time to reclaim conversation where people put down their phones more often and relearn the art and joy of spontaneously talking to each other. However, there can be a cause as conversation about what to do, where to meet, and who to invite multiply across people. Some people may get that let off the WhatsApp, or others may not reply, and much time can be spent toing and throwing across different apps and threads. Also, some people may not look their notification in a timely manner. While further developments in the group planning have evolved, this is compounded with the fact that often people don't want to commit until close to the time of the event in case of invitation to do something from another friend appear that is more interesting to them. So there's a lot of problem because for accommodating a lot of people in WhatsApp, some people choose not to respond. Additionally, people may not be literate on what tools to use. For example, this video conferencing, it's efficient, but it should be used in the right way. People could use their phone distractively. They may not look at the important things that they want and that just use social media. So here's an example of how we live today. Even though we are in the same room, we are hooked on our own digital bubble. Now, that's the reason why emojis, animated GIFs, and stickers are commonly used now as a form of nonverbal communication when sending text. They enrich message by adding humor and affection that may be difficult to express to someone in person. They're often used in place of text as a form of shorthand like thumbs up when saying okay. However, while they can enrich a message by adding humor, affection, or personal touch, they are nothing like a real smile or wink shared at key moment in a conversation. So there is a place, again, the key thing here is there's a place on these tools. Uh, we cannot vanish this. It's gonna be part of our life because there is a place for these tools in our lives. But as we learn in interfaces, it depends on different people. Now, to understand this phenomena, we need to understand the basic of face-to-face conversation. In particular, it helped researchers and developers understand how natural it is, how comfortable people are when conversing with digital agents, and the extent to which it is important to follow conversation mechanisms that are found in human conversations. First, we begin by examining what happens at the beginning. A1, hi there. B, hi. C, hi. Sorry, B1, it should supposed to be B1. C1, hi. A1, all right. C1, good. How it's going? A, A1 again. Fine. How are you? And then C1, good. B1, okay. How's life treating you? So what have you noticed? Basically, it's spontaneous. People are not aware what's the rules, but they kind of like sense it because they are in the real place, so they can see their wink, their gestures, their emotion, they can feel it. That's why they can adopt. But in video conferencing, you don't really adopt to that. That's why you have this emojis and raise hands. So a, a dialogue may then ensue in which participant takes turns asking questions, giving replies, and making statements. Then so again, this is the basic asking question, giving replies, and making statements. Then when one or more of the participant wants to draw the conversation to a close, they do so by using either implicit or explicit cues. So this is important. Aside from these three basic principles, people could explicitly tell you that they want to talk, or they can implicitly tell you that. So most of the time we can notice the implicit cues in person because we can see their gestures, we can see their eye gaze, we can hear their voice, we can see them, their face. Phone conversation usually start with a mutual greeting and end with a mutual farewell. In contrast, conversations that take place when chatting online have evolved new conventions. The use of opening and ending greetings when joining and leaving is rare. Instead, most people simply start their message with what they want to talk about and then stop when they have gotten an answer, as if in the middle of conversation. So in phone, the rules is mutual greeting and then mutual farewell. So the receiver of the call start with a mutual greeting or a statement and then followed by a question. And then in the end, it end first with a question. If there is an other question that the caller wants to ask, and then end with a statement. So that's how the phone conversation. But in chat, there is no rules like that. You just need to often ask for the question, and then you're just looking for replies. So another mechanism related to that is adjacency pairs, which is the third part. We will discuss that further, but basically the questioner or the person speaking are expecting some kind of response from the receiver. Kind of like people when they look for their personal bias, or when someone told you that they are only asking for questions that will confirm their beliefs. So that's actually prominent in conversation as well. They found that most common opening phrase used is hey, 64%, followed by hello, 63%, and then hi, 62%, were the ones that got the highest rate of reply. In the region of 63 to 64%, this was found to be higher than emails that opened with more formal phrases like dear, 57%, or greetings, 56%. The most popular form of sign-off was found to be thanks, regards, and cheers, with best being used less, 51%. Again, they found that hence which conversational mechanism someone used to address their recipient can determine whether they will get a reply. So again, the most useful is hi, hello, that get the most response, and thanks, regards. And the less used is best, uh, or less response percentage. So three basic rules of conversation. So this is very important. First, rule one: the current speaker chooses the next speaker by asking question. So we have discussed this. The current speaker, like for example me, I would choose the next speaker. Let's say I'm trying to explain something, and then that speaker will answer my question, and then after that it will come back to me, and then after me, I'll choose another speaker again. It depends on the structure of the conversation. If later we will discuss how it's important that every people contribute, not just one. So here, this is that's the meaning of that. Another person decide to start speaking. Third, the current speaker continues speaking. To facilitate the rule following, people use various ways of indicating how long they are going to talk and what topic. For example, a speaker might say right at the beginning of his turn in the conversation that he has three things to say. A speaker may also explicitly request a Change in speaker by saying to the listener, okay, that's all I want to say on that matter. So what do you think? More subtle cues to let others know that their turn in the conversation is coming to an end include the lowering or raising of the voice to indicate the end of the question, or the use of phrases like, you know what I mean, or simply okay. Back channeling, body orientation from away, such as moving away from or closing to someone, gaze, starting staring straight at someone, and gesture, for example, raising arms, are also used in different combinations when talking in order to signal to others when someone wants to hand over or take up a turn in the conversation. So basically, what it says is that there is this implicit cues, especially for face-to-face conversation, where gestures, our eye gaze, the intonation of our voice, and the gestures, such as raising your hand, signal to someone that you want to take the turn of speaking. So it, when you raise something, that's an explicit, but when you're just trying to signal to someone like uh, uh, coughing, that's an example of you're trying to message to someone that you want something different. So those are the important concepts in conversation, because later we will discuss how it's important to repair a conversation. And then remember the principle, there's no conversation if there's a war. So the beauty of conversation is it allow the team to communicate. So most often in this digital world, we need other people. We need to collaborate to other people to achieve something. Also, you need to you need to learn how to deal with your coworkers, your friends, or your family, because they are there for a reason. I mean, I would argue that that is the reason why you're still alive, because you've learned to uh, communicate with them. You learn to converse with them, to uh, exchange ideas for the betterment of the whole. So you unconsciously make others better, and they unconsciously make you better. You know, it's like what's this network effect, something like that. So adjacency pairs. In everyday conversation, people's speech is often structured in pairs of related utterances, where the first part creates an expectation for the kind of response that should follow. These are called adjacency pairs. Adjacency pairs help keep conversation coherent and flowing because they create patterns of expected replies that make communication smoother and more understandable. Example from the text. So, shall we meet at 8? Can we make it a bit later? Say 8:30. So, A asks a question and then B gives response. So, you notice something different here is that this letter B have a like situational awareness of what this A are asking. So basically, the A and B, you know that they know each other beforehand when this conversation happened, because they are going at something and they've talked about this before. So that's the thing. Another with collaborating online. Sometimes you don't need to tell the whole story because you're expecting someone, but there is a downside to this, which we're gonna explain later. So why it's important is to show how conversation is orderly and predicted. When someone says something like a question, greeting, offer, or invitation, we expect a specific type of response. This expectation shapes how we interpret the next statement. Alternatively, a listener may not take up a cue from a speaker to answer a question or take over the conversation, but instead continue to say nothing, even though the speaker may be making it glaringly obvious that it's listener to say something. That's why conversation is also complicated. Why? Because you have to know a lot of details about the person to be able to expect them to reply. Because if you ask them anything out of context or that they may not be thinking right now, you won't they won't bother because it's not their area of priorities. Another example of is workers or co-workers. Your co-workers, you know something about this company specific information that allows you to communicate without telling all the details because imagine like explaining all the information of the company in every conversation, right? Most often you're just trying to clarify something. Did I get this correct or did I get this right? But the issue with this is that this type of conversation is you're expecting or you have a bias on what you want to hear. You're not the downside is what if the other person provided a response that you're not expected to hear, such as feedback, uncomfortable feedback. That's the reason why it's also important in workplace or in any conversation to be able to understand the other people's mind, to be able to provide them feedback appropriately. Because feedback is essential for us to improve, but at the same time, we need to do it in the proper manner. Uh, that's the reason why it's important to read like fiction books or classic fiction because it allows you to empathize with other people or yeah, especially your closest friends or coworkers is because you have to provide them feedback when conversing with them because you won't both of you will be stagnant. Additionally, our environment also changes us, right? So we won't be able to change our environment if we don't provide feedback to other people. So breakdown in conversation. So here's how the repairing of conversation, especially in digital world. So when someone says something that is ambiguous and interlocutor misinterprets it means something else, in such situations, the participant will collaborate to overcome the misunderstanding by using repair mechanism. Detecting breakdowns in conversation requires that the speaker and listener both pay attention to what others says. So the again, it uh, emphasized the importance of empathy because the only way for you to converse in the first place is if you keep pay attention to each other. If you understand, if you empathize, like kind of like do unto others what you want them do unto you. So if you want to communicate, if you want them to communicate with empathy with you, you should communicate with empathy with them. So it's an example. Can you tell me the way to get the multiplex radio cinema? Yes, you go down here for 2 blocks and then take right, pointing to right. Proceed until you get to the light and then it's on the. Oh, so I go along here for a couple of blocks and then take a right and the cinema is at the light, pointing ahead of him. No, said B. You go down this street for a couple of blocks, gesturing more vigorously than before to the street to the right of him while emphasizing the word. A said, "Ah, I thought you mean that one. So this one pointing in the same direction as the other person. B, yes, that's right, this." So as you can see, guys, they clarify. Another advantage of face to face is that you have this other senses that it's feel natural to you when you're communicating. Unlike with this chat-based communication where others misinterpret you, you're gonna have a lot of disadvantage if you don't know how to use this tool because other will always understand you and you will miscommunicate something. There's always war within you and them, even if you don't intend to. So when the listener misunderstands what has been communicated, the speaker repeats what they said earlier using a stronger voice intonation and more exaggerated gestures. This allows the speaker to repair the mistake and be more explicit with the listener, allowing them to understand and follow better what they are saying. Listeners may also signal when they don't understand something or want further clarification using various tokens like huh, what, together with giving puzzle book usually friends. So the connection of this to human to computer interaction is the cognitive load. So when you're trying to give an explicit explanation, it takes a lot of your cognitive load. Unlike the implicit one, like our gestures, the things look more natural to us, like what we did, what we've learned in interface. So it's always better to just provide an implicit cues because it saves energy in collaboration. This is especially the case when the speaker says something that is vague. For example, they might say, I want to it to their partner without saying what is they want. The partner may reply using a token or alternatively explicitly ask, what do you mean by it? Nonverbal communication also play an important role in augmenting face-to-face conversation, involving the use of facial expression, back channeling, voice intonation, gesturing, and other kinds of body language. Taking turns also provides opportunities for the listener to initiate repair or request clarification, or for the speaker to detect that there is a problem and initiate repair. The listener will usually wait for the next turn in the conversation before interrupting the speaker in order to give the speaker a chance to clarify what is being said by completing the utterance. Another thing with turn taking is that this turn taking rules, when you understand it by heart, will allow the other person to repair the conversation or to clarify if they don't understand something. That's why it's important to always go back to the basics of this conversation. So, conversational user interface. So, here's an example of a chatbot that utilize giving answers and asking questions. Here, hope your day treats you well, Yvonne. I'm here to talk. Good morning, Yvonne. How's your feeling? Good, thanks. How about you? I'm feeling pretty happy right now. Did you have a breakfast yet? What's this? Toast and coffee. Nice. I love coffee. So, as you can see, asking question, give replies, and then made a statement. So that's how conversation works. Remember that. Learn from the chatbot. This is how you make conversation in chat. Conversational user interfaces such as chatbots are becoming more sophisticated in how they emulate kind of turn-taking that takes place face to face. They do so by analyzing large number of conversational patterns using machine learning models. For example, Replica, which is an AI-based companies and chatbot, was designed to simulate human conversation through encouraging turn-taking with the user. Many chatbots are designed to answer customer queries such as answering questions about how to obtain a refund on an online purchase. They are trained for a particular set of questions that they can answer well, but the customer asks an unexpected questions they're unable to answer other than provide stock praise such as I am not sure about that, etc. This is a great knowledge because even in this latest ChatGPT AI, the reason why AI is so good in math and programming is because they are trained for that specific answering question. So people are literally getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars per hour to answer the or to train the model and then reinforce the knowledge to be able. So it's still the same principle. They are task specific. They are not like you can they are biased if you ask them question or put a contradictive question to them, they will definitely go the other way around. So They are trained again to answer a question, make a statement, and then ask questions. So have you ever found that in the first part of ChatGPT, the chatbot does not ask question. Now they're asking question. Like, would you ask? Would you need further details about this, etc. So, as people usually cannot see each other when communicating by email or text, they have to rely on other means of repairing the conversation when things are left unsaid or unclear. The sender might send them a gentle nudge that diminishes any blame. For example, I'm not sure if you got my last email as I was using direct text or as a form of playing games and trying not to appear to be overly keen. This is very useful knowledge. So whenever you're trying to communicate via chat, the great metaphor is assume that they are doing good and they you miscommunicated something because you are not talking to them physically. Maybe you didn't explicitly say something. So tri- imagine them. Don't blame them. Like don't explicitly confront them that they did not reply. Always assume that they are good. Yeah, something like that. So that's the principle. Video conferencing. So this is the most useful collaboration tool. A variety of social technologies have been developed to support remote communication and collaboration, either by emulating what happens in face-to-face settings or by extending how we currently connect and interact. Video conferencing is online technology that enables people in different locations to connect and meet with each other via the internet. Much research was conducted in the 1980s and 1990s where novel systems were developed to enable people to talk remotely as if they were in the same physical location. So the important notes here is that it used to be that these are like how many years is 1980? Like 40 years ago, people just want this to happen, this simple basic stuff, not anyone on the internet, right? Just the other location 50 miles from them. So now this has been democratized. This is the power of this technology. An early example was video window that was designed to connect two lunch areas which were 50 miles apart. From being largely a means to chat with others online, these tools rapidly evolved to be more like virtual meeting rooms, providing a range of other functions that could support online activities. These include letting users choose from a variety of background screens, having a parallel window to chat in, assigning people to breakout rooms for smaller group discussions, and providing a range of emojis intended to be used in the moment as a form of expression. Other functions that became popular include the ability for people to share their screens, exchange files, and communicate via digital whiteboards. So again, this has dramatically improved and will improve as AI comes or improve. AI will be integrated in this as well. However, while many discover how efficient it was, they also find it was exhausting. The phenomenon of Zoom fatigue, this is what I'm saying earlier. Teacher experience teaching in this way was that hardly anyone spoke up or asked questions. So hardly anyone make statement or ask questions. The reason for that is the Zoom fatigue, and then people are sitting all day. Occasionally, students might use the chat facility to post a comment. The norm that quickly emerged was for students to keep their cameras turned off. Even though we asked them to turn them on, they declined. While they understood having the camera turned off made the class less engaging, they were only too aware that turning off their cameras on made them too self-conscious, especially knowing that if they spoke, their face would be highlighted and fill up the whole display. So it also proved very difficult to socialize with other classmates during lesson breaks. So that's why various studies were developed to fill this gap. The aim was to offer scope for persistent engagement and serendipitous meetings and to help create a sense of community, gather uh, town or now gather, for example, provide a virtual 2D space which had a retro game-like appearance where students could connect with others to hang out with. So it has this avatar game where students can enter the room and uh, socialize during their break. To take part in Gather, a user first creates their own avatar and then enters the virtual space. They can move their avatar around and check out who is there or just hang out in one of the virtual spaces so that others know they are around. How best to represent the activity of online interaction in virtual spaces has been subject of much research. A design principle that has been influential is social translucence in 2000. This refers to the importance of designing communication systems to enable participants and their activities to be visible to one another. This idea was very much behind the early communication tool Bubble developed by IBM by David Smith in 1999, which provided dynamic visualization of the participants in an ongoing chat room. So because of this phenomena, social translucence are being studied to know how the communication in this collaboration tool will be lifelike or real life. But the question is that really the same for everyone? As we have discussed in interface, different interface are applicable to different people and, and on their different goals. Though these video tools have improved, they they could almost mimic the real world. It's not as the same as a physical interaction. Marbles outside the circle showed user involved in other conventions. The more active a participant was in the conversation, the more the corresponding marble toward the center of the circle. Conversely, the less engaged a person was in the ongoing conversation, the more marble moved toward the periphery of the circle. More recent 2D and 3D spaces like Sokoka Gather provide social translucence in the form of showing via avatar who is online at any given time in which space. So it really depends. But I just want to share that in Teams, you have an option to show all the like this, show all the participants available in the meeting. So it also allows you to translate the speaker language while they are speaking. It also allows you to focus. So there has been a lot of features that has been implemented. Here is actually more advanced. It has a 360 cameras. As you can see, they're talking to each other, but they can also see themselves in the screen. Have also been started to be used. So again, the best use case based on interfaces is that how complex the thing that you're trying to do in regards to the task that you want to do. So do you really need this 360 degrees where that's video conferencing if you're just a small company with very little budget? Probably not, right? So this capture basically a 360 degrees. So Microsoft experimented with where to place the video feeds of remote members on a shared screen. Instead of having them appear at the top, they place at the bottom. The effect was to promote better eye gaze, which at the same time level as the participants in the room. In the rest of the display, documents are presented that can be annotated and changed in real time. So later, we will discuss how documents being presented and be able to be modified by the participants in the room dramatically improve the collaboration because they were able to modify the digital object. So another thing with this is that companies are experimenting what is the best interface. So is it on the at the bottom with the eye, or is it at the top? Also, are you better doing every time this cognitive demanding video conference or not, right? Maybe you don't need this every time. because it's tiring. Telepresence, instead of sitting in front of a screen from their location and seeing the remote place solely through a fixed camera at other place, they could look around the remotely placed by controlling the camera's eye, which are placed on the robot and are physically moving around. The idea was that it would enable and feel more connected to the place with the place and people in it. So this is probably our last topic for this. We will just continue later. But basically, instead of this one camera like this doing the training in video, we have the option to move the camera and then see what's around for us to be aware of different senses that feel natural to us because these video tools, the reason why they hard is that it's a natural for human to like look at other face and then just imagine their gesture, right? So it's more natural for us to be face to face with each other. That's because it activates a lot of natural or human skills that we have developed throughout the years that we don't need to learn in this graphical user interfaces. Telepresence robots have so been used. Okay, so we're gonna stop here. Again, we have discussed the basics. I dig deep to this because it's such so fundamentals. It's so useful. The basic rules. I think the making statement, asking questions, and giving replies are the most takeaways here because this is the cornerstone of conversation, as well as the repairing conversation and all the soft skills involved in making conversation. Again, guys, thank you for watching and see you on the next video, please.